Hello and welcome to a quick discussion demonstration of the Ansible SDK. I'm going to be using the SDK demo application to show some of how the SDK works. So I'll be flipping between the two. First, let's start with where is the Ansible SDK? You'll find it under the Ansible organization on GitHub. It's the Ansible SDK. We only have a Python release at the moment. We will be looking at going to a Golang version as well in the near future, but for now we're going to concentrate on Python. For the SDK to work, you need the SDK, but then you also need some other libraries and software installed for the SDK to communicate with Ansible. Obviously, you need Ansible itself installed. You need an asynchronous library. You need Ansible Runner to be able to be like a gateway proxy between the SDK and the Ansible core. And then we have Receptor CTL. That's the Receptor client. We will be adding Receptor mesh compatibility in the future. For just now, you don't really need that because we're just giving you the ability to do local subprocess, which I'm going to cover off in a second. So that's the SDK. There's lots of instructions on how to get that up and running. The demo is going to fall underneath here in due course. For just now, ahead of this video, we are got the demo app here. Now the demo app looks something like this. You can see here, basically, it's just a demo app, looks similar to other Red Hat products. What it does is it takes a Google Cloud inventory credential and then connects to that Google Cloud inventory using that credential, and then brings back the list of virtual machines that it can see. So you do need a Google Cloud account for this to work, and you need to export a service account credential. Once you've got that, you can give it to the demo app, and then the demo app will connect to your GCP area and bring back the list of inventory items. What's clever about this is it does it using a playbook. Okay, so the demo app example number one, and here's the use cases up here, is upon the startup, the demo app will go and fetch the inventory using a playbook, and we'll show you in the code how that is done. The inventory comes back as name, IP address, and the power status. You can then click on one of these buttons here and it will execute a second playbook. Now, for the purpose of 30th of September 2022, the two playbooks are individual playbooks, and they are just playbooks that run through local subprocess. The demo app will be updated in the very next few days, near future, next couple of days, so that the buttons, when you click on one of these buttons, it will execute the playbook, but instead of doing it through local subprocess, it will do it through the Receptor client, and that will invoke a local pull of an execution environment image and run that playbook through the EE. I'm not going to go into detail of why you want to do it through an EE, because obviously there's lots and lots of information out there already, but obviously there's huge amounts of benefit to not using local subprocess and using a Receptor mesh client instead, so that you keep everything nice, clean and tidy inside of a container image running through Podman, and that's execution environment images for you. Right, so that's the demo app. Let's go and have a look at the demo app itself. I've deliberately made it so it's not running. So the next thing we need to do is make it run. So over here, let's see, what's the command we want? This one here. So we do need to be in the folder. So let me just make sure, where are we? We are. So okay, so go to Home, SDK User. You'll know this if you've installed the SDK Demo app, because you have to have this user called SDK User. Inside of here, you can see the SDK is there, the SDK Demo app is there as well. So we go into the SDK Demo app, there it is here, and then we can do this command. Right, so this command runs up the Nginx server with the Flask app, and we should then start see some debugging coming through. So there's the app. Let's flick back to the browser, refresh the page. Now we can see that the playbook has ran. It's pulled back the inventory, and there's various number of machines here. There is a particular special machine, Ansible Inside Demo Machine. You can see here that it's currently stopped. That's not deliberate. I don't care what state it is in, because these buttons work either way. My demo account for GCP, they don't trust me, so they've deliberately given me what a read-only account apart from one machine. Okay, so whilst this is looking at the Ansible engineering organization within inside of GCP. My service account that they've given me for this demo is locked down, so it's completely read-only, and it can only stop and start the Ansible inside demo machine. So if you are in fear of your GCP credentials, that's one way that you can protect yourselves. Now, and also you can look at the demo app and see that it does literally very little apart from demonstrate the SDK. Let's go back to the debugging here. So here's the app, and you can see results from Ansible SDK, and here's the machines that are coming back. Here's all the inventory machines that are coming back, and so on. So let's go back to here, and we'll click on Start. It's going to take a few seconds for the playbook to run, secondly for GCP to do its thing, okay, and power on the virtual machine, and then return the result. So it's a demo app, so it's got rough edges. It doesn't auto refresh and what have you, because it is just a demo app. But if we refresh this page now, there you go. You can see that the Ansible inside demo machine is no longer in a stopped power state. It's now started because I clicked the button, and if we go back to the debugging, we can see here. Where are we looking? There we go. Performing power on operation, and it did its job. Here it is, result from doing that job. It's now running, and it's got the inventory back. So that is the demo app. We're going to add more capability and feature as we go into the forthcoming weeks. Let's go and have a look at the code. Okay, so the demo app tries to demonstrate a few things so that when you're using Ansible inside of your application, you've got some examples to follow. Of course, there is the documentation. You can read the documentation, but if you're a developer or a product manager like me, you probably cut and paste a lot of code from other people's applications. So in this case, we can go straight down here, and we can see that there is a run playbook method. Okay, so this run playbook method is taking an input of data path, and then it's doing an executor, subprocess executor. This subprocess executor is what goes off to Ansible runner via the SDK. Then it sits and it waits for the job status, and we're getting the job status events coming through. You can see here this runner on OK event. If you watch that event, then you'll see all of the live streams coming back from runner through the SDK asynchronously. Some of the other things that you may want to see in here is, for instance, when we want to do a power state. Let's see, where's a good place to start? Okay, so we want to do a power state, request power state. This is where this comes through. I'm trying to find the create power state. So create power state, depending on whether you're powered off or powered on, it then comes through, and then it joins the data path together with the project and the playbook that you want to execute, and then sends it off to the power state function. Eventually, obviously, every single time it wants to run the playbook, it then goes through to the run playbook method function, and then calls the Ansible subprocess with inside of there. So, and then here's right at the beginning the inventory type. Okay, so one thing you may see in the demo app is this thing called if GCP compute. We are going to extend the demo app to support Azure as well. Remember that the demo app is not actually here to demonstrate the use of Google Cloud or Azure. It's just here to demonstrate how you execute a playbook, either as a subprocess or as a receptor mesh process. We want to demonstrate inside of an application how you can do one of those two methods. We want to demonstrate how you can use inventories, credentials, and extra vars. So we're going to mature the demo app to show those capabilities as we go forward. As you can see right in a moment, when we do the playbook execution, there's no extra vars being passed here at the moment, but that will be done. Don't worry about that. So yeah, you'll see this thing called inventory type GCP compute. The idea is that inventory playbook, we're going to give you the choice to be able to swap it out. So you'll be able to start the app. When I started the app earlier, I started it with no parameters. If we go back, you can see here, I started the Nginx server with no parameters. We're going to allow you to specify whether you want to use GCP and Azure, and that is going to immediately allow you to pick up different playbooks external to the application, demonstrating how the playbook can actually control the look and feel of your app, and the results that are being returned and the actions that are being done without actually having to recode any of your application. So let's go and just kill that a second. Let's go and have a look at the playbooks themselves. If we go and have a look at the playbooks are inside the templates folder of the SDK app. If we go and have a look at these, you can see here we got the GCP instance. So let's go and have a look at that. This is the inventory. So this playbook, really small, really short. I think you can probably get a good idea now that actually with very simple, easy, minimalist code like Ansible, you can go into GCP, get all of the power status, IP, and name inventory items of the organization and return them back to your app and process them. So that's the code inside, or the YAML inside of Ansible that does the inventory. And if we go and have a look at the other playbook, one of the power state ones, you'll see that it's just as easy. Let's see. Let's go and have a look at the power off. There's the power off. It's running against local host because obviously we're the management machine, and then it's taking the input of machine name being the one that you clicked on in the UI. So that's where we're sending through the parameters, and then it's saying right to terminate it because it's power state off YAML. So that really concludes the app. I'll just restart it whilst we're here. So there's the app started. There's probably the next stage to look at would be to go through the install materials. You can install the demo app in a couple of ways. You can install the demo app either via manual process, so you can go and install all of these requirements individually. There's some information on how to do that. There's information about how to get your GCP auth file and what it should look like, and that's that. Otherwise, what we have done, being Ansible, we like to use Ansible, and you can use a predefined playbook. In the Ansible install folder, you'll find an install.yaml, and here's the install instructions here. Very, very easy. Deploy a virtual machine that's RHEL 8 or higher, create an SDK user, copy across a couple of files, and then install Ansible, run the playbook, and you're pretty much running. So I would suggest that if you're going to try and run the SDK demo, maybe use the Ansible install to do that, because it will save you a lot of hassle with virtual environments and pip installing and all the Python-y things that that you need to do when an application's at this stage of its development. I wish you luck. Please contact me if you have any questions.